BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
The following podcast contains some strong language and adult themes. The sort
Mad, innit?
The sort of thing that we call fun stuff. If you don't like bad words, this pod probably isn't for you. The pod's just got off to an absolute shambolic start again.
You're a bit like Alexander the Great, aren't you, really?
Have I?
Peter Crouch has left the group.
No. But that was a really interesting Brexit conversation.
This is going to take it to a new low.
Excellent.
No one's ever put anything in my ear other than a cotton bud.
That would be on your Tinder profile if you were single.
Is your olfactory gland not being tickled by poo particles?
This podcast is the biggest con on the BBC.
We're having it off here. Welcome back to that Peter Crouch podcast with me, Peter Crouch.
Have you been practicing?
I'm media trained now, aren't I?
I can tell.
I've been around doing a few bits and pieces.
God, it's exciting. The new Crouchy. Obviously, Peter Crouch there. My name's Chris Stark. We've got Tom Fordyce, who wants everyone to know he's still the BBC's chief sports writer.
How would you like me to refer to you?
Radio One's finest, wouldn't it?
Radio One's finest, yeah. Yeah, actually, that's nice. I like that one. Look, Crouchy, for anyone new to the podcast, what would you like to say to them?
Crouchy's big moment to sell the pod and he's...
I guess it's a welcome along. Where have you been? Because there's been 2 series of this podcast, and obviously it's been good times up to now. You're joining in at series 3. Maybe what we do is we tell them to stop right now and just go listen to the other 2 series.
Get cracking on with it. It's just definitely one of my favourite things to do.
Got any nerves for you boys? Feels like we've had a sort of separation.
Well, yeah.
And then we've agreed that actually we are the ones for each other. And now we're having our first sort of dinner out together.
Well, we never split up. We should dispel that rumour. You know, it was always going to be back stronger. No, but I feel good about this. It's a bit like slipping back into an ex. Do you know what I mean? There's something quite comfortable about this. Crouchy?
Yeah, but there's an element of that can be wrong, isn't there? There's nothing wrong about this.
No.
But if they're your ex, that you've split up with them, haven't you?
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, well, maybe it's a bit like just slipping into someone that you've
been slipping into for a while.
Do you know what I mean? You've been on the other side of the world or something and missed them a lot for a few months. God, this analogy's going away from me here. We've barely started.
We've had a little chat with Abby.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, just to get her perspective, Chris, wasn't it, really?
Yes.
Was it?
Well,
you just wanted, you should stitch me up.
This is a new world that you're in now, Crouchy, right? Retirement and all that.
Do you think she's A, said it's lovely to have you around the house all the time, or B, there's a long list on a bit of paper in front of me?
I reckon 100%. There's a long list.
Go on in, Chris.
This is an important bit of the retirement episode. Is there a bit more expected of you around the house sort of thing?
Yeah, there is, because she knows now that, because I used to hide behind the football club. Do you know what I mean? It's a weird sort of dynamic now. The stats for divorce after football
Are they? Seriously?
huge. Yeah, they are, you know. Not
told
saying
you
we
that?
are. Not saying we are. But they are, yeah, they are.
was Abby's
they are.
first message
No,
when
I
you
just
got
think
home.
in the day, you're
different dynamic,
you're
yeah, all
around
of a
each
sudden,
other.
yeah.
Like all of a sudden, you get used to like a thing.
Yeah.
And then it's a different way of life, isn't it?
One of the first things she mentioned was a fish tank.
Yeah, no, I bought. Yeah, she was away, and I had all 3 kids of my own. And it's like, what do you want to do today? And they said, we want to go and get a fish. Like, well, let's go for it. Why not? I let the kids pick their own fish, and my little boy went for this massive black thing, right, with huge googly eyes, the ugliest fish I've ever seen in my life, and he called it Nemo. They're all very, very different, and I'm not sure if they're strictly supposed to cohabit, but they.
It's the new Attenborough, everyone. The BBC will be happy. He's
not
whacked
sure if
a
it's
shark in there with some sort
I
of...
don't know, look.
Eel.
So how much did you drop on fish on that?
No, it wasn't too bad. I think with the tank, the food, we're looking about 200 quid. It's not like, it wasn't. I mean, they're in goldfish, but I didn't realise that goldfish can come in all different shapes and sizes. And he also told me, because I thought goldfish, you know the ones that you get from the fairground, you used to be able to take them home in the bag and just throw them in a pot.
Yeah. Not sure that's on anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could, I didn't know you can't do that now. A goldfish should last 15 years, he told me. Can you believe that?
What have you called the goldfish?
We've got Pearl, Nemo, and sadly one died.
Oh no!
What?
You just found it floating at the top, did you?
Yeah, like day 2.
What did you do with
Did you flush it down the toilet or do you bury it in the
What's
garden?
the humane thing to do?
Well, no, it's fine. It's died at that point.
Okay.
So you could either do like a full funeral and go out into the garden and...
No, I said obviously that my little girl saw it. She was very upset. And then I said, obviously, I'll bury it and then it'll go up to heaven and all that. But I did flush it down the toilet.
Yeah. Often how goldfish go. I mean,
did it go first time or was it a floater?
It went first time. There was a couple of skidders on the side as well that slipped out.
Goodness. Yeah.
Did you? What a way to go.
It's really undignified, isn't it?
What a way to go, man. Well, he didn't know, does he? He's gone anyway.
Oh. The other fish couldn't see what was going on.
No. I put him in just a little mug.
Okay, well, on the fish theme, you apparently also bought a lava lamp with fish in.
A lava lamp?
Yeah, that's what Abs is saying.
Yeah, that's my little boy is banging into fish. It's not me who's a weird, fish man. Become a weird, bizarre fish man. My little boy is into fish. He absolutely loves them. He's watched Finding Nemo, just thought it was the best thing ever. So that's the reason we went to the fish shop.
So it's a lamp.
It's like a lava lamp, but it has fish swimming around in it.
So the real or fake?
Not real fish, no.
They're not
real
like
ones.
exclusive fish that live in like geothermic vents of
No.
undersea volcanoes.
No. I always liked lava lamps growing up.
Yeah, quite nice.
They're nice, aren't they? Yeah, so I thought my little boy would love that. I thought it was a nice gesture.
Okay.
And the final thing, there's lots to go through here. Abs just said a tree that was very expensive.
Oh, no, not the tree. Do you know that tree?
What happened?
No, what?
Oh, mate, it's a bad one, this. But anyway, I walked past the shop and I went, oh, my God, that is insane. And it was basically a tree with silk petals. I mean, it's stunning. I really do think it's stunning. And amazingly, all the men that come to my house go, wow, what an amazing tree. And every single female that has come into the house goes, the fuck is that?
So what? I've never bought a tree.
Honestly,
so what? Is it a real tree?
It's not an actual tree, though, is it?
Snap of it. It's a fake tree, but it's an indoor tree. The size
like
of
a Christmas tree,
like a Christmas tree, but like a beautifully.
What species of tree is it meant to be?
Beautiful formation. I'd say like a blossom sort of vibe.
How much did the tree cost?
Oh my God, I don't even want to say.
What, £1,000?
Yeah, it's higher probably.
20,000.
No, much lower.
10,000.
No. It's over £1,000, but not much more.
Where is the tree?
I took delivery. I went home to take delivery of it while we were there. Put it up, made it all nice, like fluffed up the branches and stuff. And when you come through, you come through the door and go like
the front door.
Ta-da! And you just knew you fucked up.
But you've genuinely thought it was a lovely thing to do.
I thought it was a belter, yeah. I really
heartbreaker.
thought it was a belter, yeah. It's managed to stay in the house.
Had Abby expressed any feelings about trees?
What did she want?
No, it was just one of those. It was a
Spur of the
last
moment.
minute thing. I was in Harrods, believe it or not, and I was in I was getting a salt beef sandwich from Harrods. No,
Not
I've
my
never,
world.
What the fuck do you think we're going to say to that?
well, lovely. Try them.
Oh, this is great.
Well, Leslie, right? If you know that section of Harrods,
No.
well,
How relatable is this?
well, it's just the food bit. It's like you get a sandwich. It's nice.
It's not.
It's Harrods.
Yeah,
How much
but-
is a sandwich from there?
You've been to Harrods, right?
Yeah, once
Yeah,
probably.
so get a salt beef sandwich there.
How much is a salt beef sandwich?
I don't know. £5?
It's not a
Really?
fiver.
I don't know.
You pop in for a salt beef sandwich, right? And you've seen
Well,
the
now-
tree. And then
now
gone,
what you're saying-
Oh, Abs will love that. And I can just imagine you being really serious, going, "Hello, mate. So how does it work? Do you deliver the tree, or how much is?" And having a serious discussion with this dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely. Yeah,
lovely,
exactly. I
man.
went. I was tucking into a salt beef sandwich. I should have just got her a pickle or something. No, it didn't. Anyway, it didn't go down well. She's not let me forget it. She's told everyone.
But it's
Is
still
it still
there.
in the house?
It's still in there.
Okay.
It is still in there because she hasn't got the heart to throw it out. But it's fun. It's genuinely funny. Honestly, I think if you come round, I reckon you'd go, "That's a nice tree."
Here's a few other things that Abby has mentioned that you've bought. She said he's bought a new phone charger every week, but at least they're colour coordinated for the house. He has a marble one for the kitchen.
Yeah, I bought loads of docks. And I listen, I've had a bit of time on my hands by the sounds of it. But I bought loads of docks because people, what people are like with chargers, they steal them and they go missing all the time, right? So I bought actual
Hang on,
docks.
is this like your fraud thing? You think people steal phone chargers?
Yeah, it does my head in. Phone chargers is the bane of my life.
How many of you had stolen?
So many.
Are you sure they're stolen? You haven't lost them?
So many. From people you have parties or people just take them. They're there one minute.
I've never gone to a mate's party and I know
you're a normal person. I agree with that. I would never do it myself.
Who's stealing your phone chargers?
Disgusting. I think it's horrible. Really got a problem with it. But if you buy a dock, it's there. It's like a part of the furniture. Do you know what I mean? So I've bought quite a few of them.
How many?
Probably bought about 12 or 15 docks.
Okay, well, look, you've been buying a lot of things. Apparently, you've now started having facials to look better on TV.
That's not true. Ab goes to the salon, right? She spends hours there. And a couple of times I've gone to pick her up. She's made me have a facial. She said,
She's made you how?
Yeah, she's gone, you're looking old or whatever. Get in with this lady.
And
so I'm sitting around having a coffee and I've just been forced to have this facial. But now I went in once and went, that was decent. Now I'm all over it.
What's your standard facial treatment? Will you have a peel?
I have had a peel, yeah. They're quite aggressive.
Are they? How much skin did you lose?
Not a huge fan of those. No, I'm not a fan of them. Not a fan. I mean, they hurt and you go red. But then apparently if you apply the moisturiser, you look younger.
Would you ever have Botox?
No, that's not for me. I'm not into all that.
You'll have a peel, but you wouldn't go Botox?
Yeah, I'm not going. I'm not,
Well, don't rule it out. You don't know how these things are going to play out.
Don't rule it out.
Would you get your nails done?
No.
So let's say your peel is going to take 45 minutes and the woman says, I can do your nails while you're here.
No, that's not acceptable.
Draw the line.
No, that's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. Crouches red lines in the beauty.
No.
Don't touch my nails.
It's all fine. I'm sure it's fine for others. Just on my, it's not so acceptable for me.
But you know what? You've dipped your toe, haven't you?
I have dipped my toe, and I've really enjoyed it. Actually,
yeah.
I think this is a slippery slope. I think I don't know, month's time, Chris, when we do this podcast, you're going to come with your nails done.
What else has Ab's been saying?
This is better news, Crouchy.
Yeah.
Abby says that you appreciate her more now that you're actually home. So here's a little quote for you. I think he's starting to realise how manic the house is and how much work goes into looking after 4 kids.
Yeah. Being at home more is harder than working, definitely. I love it, though. It's so much fun. I absolutely love the kids. And I always joke saying, it's hard work and all that, but it's awesome. It's you get loads more back. But yeah, it is tough, especially when you're up through the night and then taking them to school and whatever. It can be tough. Then the amount of homework you get. There's so many clubs and stuff to remember. Bags galore. So much going on.
The homework's ridiculous, isn't it?
Homework's a joke. I mean, she's 8. It's getting tough.
What's been the thing that's tested you? Is it the maths stuff, the spellings?
What it is for me, it's the maths, but it's the way, obviously I know the answer to the question.
Oh, yeah.
But the way she works it out is different to how I did it. So I'm trying to work it out on her way, and they've got this frog method.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with that.
The frog method?
Yeah.
Where it's the numbers here, and then they have to
and you do the leap.
Do the leaps to the number. It's not how I did things.
They should just be able to whip out a phone, shouldn't they, and calculator.
At the end of the day, they're never going to need that, are they?
No.
They've got their blower. They've got, everyone's got a blower, calculators. Maths is void now, isn't it, really?
Maths is void. Did you never try
Parenting with Peter Crouch.
Don't worry about that, man.
Little sub-series, isn't it?
Who needs the leapfrog when you've got an iPhone? Seriously.
That Peter Crouch podcast from BBC 5 Live.
Now that you're retired, right, because there's so much to talk about here, what is the first thing you sort of realise you've got to do for yourself in civilian world? So I guess starting right at the beginning of the day, you've got to kind of dress yourself now, haven't you? Which you never used to have to do, and cook your own breakfast and that. What?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I know I'm in a really, really fortunate position, but it can be quite a dark place. And I know from experience, I know some of my friends of mine, good friends of mine, who you'd never have thought got in a really, really dark place, doing things, waking up and not having any real goal and stuff, and splitting up with their wives, not having a job, not having any money coming in, and going from a hero in the city to basically a no one. And it happens like that. And I can see why people lose it and turn to drink, go gambling and, nights out, because they don't know any other thing to do, and there's no release, and it can be difficult, definitely. And I know how fortunate I am to have these things to keep me busy. Otherwise, I'd be losing my mind as well.
Are you suggesting then that there's a kind of lack of support?
I think there's definitely a problem, and I don't think there is enough around helping players. And listen, it could be, I'm talking, League 2 players retiring, League 1 players retiring, and right the way to the top, international players retiring. Because although, financially you should be secure if you've looked after your money in the short career you've still got 30, 40 years to live life, and it's not really the financial things I'm talking about. I'm just thinking about having a goal and having a path to follow, and just to come out of that and just sit at home and go, right, I've got nothing to do now. You can end up going to a dark place. And even with myself, I had offers, and I was really lucky to go straight into sort of working in some sort of TV and bits and pieces like that. But even myself, I mean, I had no training or anything, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there. Someone gave me an earpiece and an auto cue. Well, I went, literally, I'm about to go live to a lot of people. I just don't have a clue what I'm about to do. I've never done this before. No one's ever put anything in my ear other than a cotton bud.
That's a quote.
Good job you're not a touchline reporter on transfer deadline day.
I've never done that.
It won't be long, mate.
No. I'll be there soon.
Dildo in here.
You know what I mean, though? Like, I'm sitting there and I've got an auto cue in front of me, and I've got a director speaking to me. And I'm going, what? This has literally never happened to me. I've only been interviewed. So even that, I felt underprepared.
Which is scary, because you've gone into football knowing exactly how to do what you've got to do.
Exactly right. For me, I've just kicked a ball around, and all of a sudden I'm going, right, you're on telly now. I'm not sure. I might be shit at this.
This is true, actually, because I think there's an expectation that you should be able to, especially pundits, I think, get judged more than ever now.
If you want to do it properly, you have to prepare correctly. You have to know everything you're talking about. Because if you get the slightest thing wrong, as you know, I'm sure as a fan, you've sat there and go, he hasn't got a clue what he's talking about. You're a fan of Watford and you've got someone talking about your team and they get a stat wrong or something wrong. You're all over them.
But you're starting again, aren't you? That's what you're experiencing. It's exciting.
Like Match of the Day, for instance. I'm sitting there, and then that music starts. It's live. You're about to go live. That's like the similar sort of buzz as before a game.
There are kind of preferred people, though, aren't they? Because when it's like final of the Euros, you want the call-up, don't you?
What happens if you get to semi-finals, you think you've had a good semi-final, and the phone doesn't ring? Genus's phone is going mental.
This now is just an added bonus.
Bollocks.
Honestly,
I'm telling you, you're the most competitive person I know.
I am competitive.
You don't just retire from that feeling. I call bullshit. You are looking at other pundits and going, I could do a job here.
If Chris said to you, I think Mark Lawrenson's better than you, Crouchy.
Yeah.
You'd be upset, wouldn't you?
I'd say no to that. That's a standard. I'm better than him.
Let's say Gary Lineker's hosting the match day, right?
Right.
You've got seats there for 3 people.
Okay.
You're going to pick yourself, right?
Yeah.
Who are the 2 that are next to you?
Yeah, love it.
Well, what I would want is a combination of things. Do you know what I mean? So I think I'd hopefully a bit of insight with a light-hearted flavour. Okay.
Someone's told him that.
No.
Someone's gone, this is what you represent.
No.
It's insight, but with a light-hearted flavour.
He's gone back to Abby and told her that.
That's the first time I've ever said that or heard it. And then, all right, I'm gonna be sitting next to Roy Keane, because then we're mixing it up big time, right?
Yeah, I like
so
that.
Roy Keane's coming in next to me. He might not like that, I don't think. But
that's his shtick, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you look at that.
Right, so hang on. So you're light-hearted flavour, he's angry flavour.
Yeah, like it's chalk and cheese.
Stroppy flavour.
You know what I mean? That's what you need. Then I think next to him, I'm going to have to go with Carragher. He might help me out against Roy.
It's great, this.
Harry wouldn't, would he?
Speaking of Match of the Day, what is that like to do? Does Gary Lineker greet you?
You go there, and no one's in the office. Shearer will be there, or Chappers, and we'll all just watch the game together. Just write a few notes down and have a bite to eat. cups of tea.
See, I didn't realise this.
It's weird.
I didn't realise you all sit together watching the games. I just assumed you turned up in the evening, kind of got told what to say, and then just say it. I didn't realise that you.
It's a long day,
and you've got loads of snacks, right?
Yeah. We'll have like a bite to eat. We'll have lunch. We'll have dinner there.
Is that the responsibility of the host? So like on the Saturday, does like Lineker do a lasagna?
Yeah,
and then. Chappers does like a shepherd's pie.
No, we'll get a takeaway on the Saturday nights, but the Sunday, usually, Chappers will do a full roast. You see him with his oven gloves, he sorts it all out, does a lovely roast.
Breast or thigh, Peter?
Just carving it up on the Sunday. Glass of red while we watch Wolves.
Someone has a snooze. The oldest one has a snooze.
So what goes on? So you spot things in the game, right?
Yeah, so spot things in the game. I'll log it. I'll write them down, write the numbers down. We'll clip it, get it all out.
Write the numbers down. It's in the time of the match.
The time of when it is.
So you might write 35 minutes.
Yeah, you look at the team shape, or you'll look at a certain player, highlight what he's done in the game, or you'll highlight the back four if they're all out of shape and look at this bit, the fullback's too high, they're too deep, little things like that. And then you'll just go throughout the whole game. It's a different way to watch football. If I was sitting at home, I find myself now analysing games.
Must be nice
in
for
a weird way. Yeah. She loves it. I mean, she really, really loves it when I'm sitting there, analysing the fullbacks. I say to her, babe, can you just highlight that one there? Could you just highlight one Basaka there for me? It was too deep there, wasn't it?
Do you also feel like that new kid at school when, let's say Shearer, because he's been doing it for so long, he points something out and you're like, yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
But what I've found is that you need to sort of, if you're going to be like a pundit or something, I think, you need your own opinion. It needs to be your own. Just agreeing with people doesn't work. I mean, I do that to shut people up in real life. Like, if someone comes up to me in a pub and go, "Oi, so-and-so, this and that," I'll go, "Yeah, I agree. See you, mate." Whereas, usually through life, you just go, "Yeah, you're spot on there, mate. Nice one. See you in a bit. Catch you later." But, if you're going to do it seriously as a role, you need to have your own opinion, you need to stick by that, and you need to justify that opinion.
But do you think sometimes there's over-analysing going on? Or do you think there's always something to point at?
There is usually, like the live games, sometimes you just think, "Oh, please, just someone score a goal here." It's 0-0, like nothing's happened. If you're at home, you just put a box set on or something, you know what I mean? But, you're there, you're analysing it, you have to make it sound interesting. It's not in my nature to go and hammer someone, do you know what I mean? Like, I will if it's warranted. Definitely. And you can't sit back and say, like, Pochettino, for instance, I was a huge fan of him. I was doing a few of the Tottenham games, I liked him a lot as a person as well. And I'm sitting there and going, they're having a nightmare here. It's not good enough. He looks like he's lost the dressing room to some degree. I can't sit there and not say that. I still have to be honest and say, I don't think this is right. And possibly the sacking was correct.
So how's that for you?
I found it really difficult, to be honest with you. But, if you're going to do the job seriously, you can't... this and that. You can't look after your mates, and I think people can see through that straight away. And I've got mates who are still playing now, and if they have a nightmare, then it's my job to tell them. And I think the thing is, as long as it's constructive criticism, I know what I was like as a player. If I had a nightmare, I wouldn't usually watch Match of the Day if I'd had a nightmare. But if I did, I'd expect criticism, and when it comes, you've got to be big enough to take that.
Can I ask a question about the holograms on Match of the Day? So when you're watching it and you see you as the pundits and Lineker or Chappers in the background, and you see the hologram of a player like walk towards the camera and do that big sort of manly folded arms thing, when you're in the chair, can you see the hologram?
Do you know what's a weird thing with that? Is that when I did my first Match of the Day, it was don't wear green and don't wear white, I think was the two things. And I asked the question, so what is...
You're a Celtic fan, you're in trouble.
What's that about? Yeah, it's a weird one. It's an all green screen, so it's all whatever green screen means. Basically,
what does green screen mean?
I've no idea, but for the viewer at home, all that stuff is basically just a big empty studio with nothing on it. And everything's sort of projected. It's basically nothing in the studio, but at home it looks amazing because it's all like there's matches going on behind you and you see all the players and the stats come up as if... we can't see any of that. It's a weird thing for me. It's a completely different role and job. I'm enjoying it. It's very different. It's not the same as playing. It's not as fun as playing.
Oh,
that's quite sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not. It's not. I'll be honest with you. Well, in some ways, I've led my life back to front. Like at 18, 19, 20 to 25, I was doing all the things I wanted to do and achieving all my goals that I wanted to do. I get to like now, when people have usually worked up to that point and now they're achieving things. They're going, right, I've had the family, I've got the house, successful at work, I'm doing better at work, I'm getting to where I want to be. Whereas I got where I wanted to be at 25. And now it's like, fuck, it's downhill from here. Oh, no. It's quite sad in a lot of ways. It's like, I'm 38 now, and thankfully, I'm blessed with the career that I've got now, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, this is I absolutely love. But what I wanted to do was play for England and play in the Champions League, and that was what I did when I was 25. I missed the day-to-day football. I really missed that. I missed the going in and having a crack, like literally belly laughing every single day of your life with your mates, kicking the ball around, getting a sweat on and having a great lunch and going home. And that's a top job, that. And I do miss that. But I've filled my days. Any day off I have, I've been around to take the kids to school. I can go and watch my little girl swimming. It's a cliche again, but I'm playing loads of golf and I've just got really into it.
How many shots have you dropped off your handicap?
Not many. I'm still back average.
Well, are you about 18, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm off 16 now, but it's not...
So Mike Dean's still beating you by...
Yeah, Mike Dean, but I can't
10,
believe
shots.
that. I can't believe Mike Dean beat me. I was with someone the other day, actually, who was like a top golfer, and he said, he listened to the podcast, and he said, I've been round with Mike Dean, he said. I said, oh yeah? He said, very tidy.
Really?
Very tidy golfer, yeah. Surprises me, that.
Do you have a clear goal?
I don't really have a goal, that's the thing. I'm doing things at the moment, I'm enjoying them, but I'm just sort of pottering around, do you know what I mean? Like, not really knowing where I want to be.
A lot of people have that, though.
But I think that's everyone I spoke to who's come out of the game had the exact same feelings. They did not know what they liked doing. But it's like, that's the thing. Like, I've been doing too many things, definitely. I'll find a sort of a niche where I'm happy and I've got a bit of routine, because I think that's what humans need in a weird way. You need a bit of routine. You need to know what you're doing, don't you?
You're a bit like Alexander the Great, aren't you, really?
Am I?
Yeah, Alexander the Great, 28 years old, he's conquered most of the known world.
Yeah.
And then what's he do the rest of his life? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Possibly on a slightly smaller scale, but similar.
But you do hold the record for the most headed goals in Premier League history, so...
Yeah. I don't think
he's conquered the known world, you've got...
a few headers.
Has something new come into your life in the days? Like, what do you feel? Are you watching Lorraine?
Are
you loose swimming? What
That's what I was worried about. That's why I took on so many sort of roles, really.
Because of Lorraine?
Because of Lorraine. Because of Richard and Judy. And because of This Morning. Because they're good shows. It's easy to get sucked into them.
Have you had a day of just going back to back?
I have done one day, yeah.
So you started off
I
Lorraine.
I went for BBC Breakfast, and then I did a little bit. I moonlighted with a bit of Piers Morgan, and then I went straight into, I think it was Lorraine, because you can go mid-morning and go into Loose Women if you keep going.
Yeah. Well, they're clever like that. So what they do is you think you're watching Good Morning Britain. Or you're watching Pierce, and all of a sudden, look, Lorraine's on, and I'm watching, this season's best dresses are. It's crazy how quickly
I saw one woman lose 8 stone. I could not believe it on This Morning.
Did you?
Frightening. She looked fantastic.
Abby, you got to see this.
You got to see this. And then went straight into Loose Women, and I was like, bang on like some of the topics there.
Catch Dion Dublin in the afternoon.
Go for Dion Dublin. You can go right through.
You look out the window, it's dark.
You can go right through, and then you're straight into the one show.
You are.
In all honesty, I did wonder why I was on the one show. I did wonder when I was sitting there. And there was a couple of other things, like I was on Radio 4. What am I doing here? Seriously. I'm literally the girl on Radio 4. I'm sure I don't listen to Radio 4.
We're joined now by Peter Crouch.
But this is amazing, right? She was hammering this fellow about Brexit. And they were. So I'm sitting there. You come in. You know the radio how it works. So you're live for the radio, Chris.
You know the radio, Chris.
You know the radio. So she is literally tearing shreds off this fellow about Brexit, right? And his opinion on it. And she went to pieces. And then she went, now we've got Peter Crouch with us, right? Straight, literally, didn't even go to a break or anything. Straight on to me. Said, so, tell us about the jumper. You spilt Guinness down. The owner.
And you've got to be like, well, yes, hello.
It's
really formal.
Hi. That was a really interesting Brexit conversation. Yeah, the Guinness down the jumper was an amazing story.
Crouchy's done the robot again because it's 100 Premier League goals for Peter Crouch.
That Peter Crouch podcast from BBC 5 Live.
You know, when you retired, how did it all kind of come about? Because when I heard that you'd retired, I actually heard it on the radio, which was weird for me. Yeah, I heard it, like, we went to the news on Radio 1. It was like, Peter Crouch has retired.
I didn't tell many people, you know.
Do you go and have a conversation with the football club, or like, how did you come to the decision?
I spoke to Sean Dyche quite a lot. I have to say he was amazing, really was, around my retirement. And he said to me, look, we'd like to have you for another season. He was great.
Really?
He was great with that. He didn't, listen, I think he wasn't like saying, you're not going to play, but he liked to have me around the place, and he thought I could still be a threat. But I didn't feel that, it was enough. It wasn't like, we need you, one of those. So I sort of knew that, but he was being really good about it. But then having spoke to him, and he was amazing. I sort of took a lot of advice from him, really, because, he's another player who's come out of the game. And I spoke to my dad, as I've always done with all my decisions. And I spoke to...
What did he want you to do?
He just thought the same as me, really. My thoughts on retirement were a weird one, really, and quite different to a lot of players, is that I felt physically fit, whereas a lot of players just can't go anymore. Their backs, their knees, everything's given up, really. I felt all right. I felt like I could do another season, no problem. Fitness-wise, the running in pre-season and all that, I wouldn't say I was leading, but I'm up there with the top people in the running. I'm not, no worries fitness-wise. I just felt a little bit degraded a bit. I felt like I was becoming the stereotype that I'd always tried to avoid.
Because people were wanting to lobby you on for 20 minutes and lump it.
Last 10, 15, that was my role. I'm coming on the last bit of games, and we're just launching it up to me, and I'm basically using my height, flicking it on, or getting on the end of crosses, or, I could always nick a goal. So, you can make a good living in the Premier League, coming on for the last 10, 15 minutes, nicking a goal here and there. And I knew I could have done it for possibly 2 more seasons, quite easily. But I felt degraded by it. I felt like I look at myself in the mirror going, that is not what you're about. Like, I can still play. You can play into my feet. I can play 90 minutes, no problem. And I literally became a head on a stick.
Had a head on a stick.
Yeah, that's
how you felt.
I felt a bit, just getting wheeled out.
And that's not you. You grew up wanting to be Gaza.
That's what I'm saying. Like that. I just felt that I was a little bit better than that. And I'd done probably 3 years of not quite that, because I was playing games as well. But it was getting to the point where I had to say, nah, do you know what? I don't want to be remembered like this. And although I could still have an impact in what I was doing, I just had to say no. And thankfully, like I say, doing this podcast has been great for me. It sort of opened my eyes to another world. And I thought, you know what, there is life after football. I don't have to plug away doing this.
So what was the most emotional bit then? When you retired, was it the moment that you left Sean Dyche's office after saying that you weren't going to be on anymore? Or was it leaving the training ground? Or was it getting removed from the WhatsApp group? So I assume that happens, doesn't it?
It does. All of that.
Does it?
Yeah. I removed myself, but that was a sad moment.
But it must say Peter Crouch left
Yeah, but I did warn them.
It's more dignified removing yourself.
I think so.
Rather than the administrator just giving you the chop.
What was the final words? Back stronger?
Yeah. No, I think the final things I said is that, I'm going to other things now and all that. You better play well, because I'm coming for you. I'm the telly. I'm going to abuse you.
Peter Crouch has left the group.
That was a tough one. I remember sitting face to face with Sean Dyche at the end of the season, and my last game was Arsenal at home, and for Burnley, that was my last ever game, and I sort of knew in the back of my mind it was my last ever game, but no one else knew. No one else would. I didn't share these feelings with anyone. So
you had your family there, didn't you? You had all the kids on the pitch.
All the kids were there, and the reason I brought them all up, because I brought them all on the pitch, because in the back of my mind, I knew. I didn't want to make a big song and dance of it, but in the back of my mind, I knew that it was over. So I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted them to be on the pitch, and I've got a lovely photo of all the kids on the pitch with me.
Dyche is quite a hard man. Did you have a little cuddle as the final goodbye?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, you know what? He's a tough exterior and all that, but I've really found him to be such a top man, and I still speak to him now because I shared something with him. It was like I was going through a tough time, mainly the retirement, and he was first class for me, and I can't thank him enough for that.
That's good to hear.
The nice thing about Sean Dyche as well, because in my head, Chris, I've got an image of Sean Dyche cradling Crouchy, or trying to maybe cradle him sort of nipple level or something. And because of the way that Sean Dyche sounds, he would sound choked at any point. But he would sound like double-dyched.
Double-dyched.
You've double-diced.
Double-diced, yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, he was awesome around my retirement. Really, really good.
But you never had a testimonial, which I think a player like yourself should have, really. Or did you just have like a private party that we weren't invited to? And it was like, do you have a retirement party?
Do you know
what went on?
I said to myself, I'll have a retirement party. I always thought that I would have, but I haven't. I've just gone straight into something else. You know what I mean? Then not really thought about, not really looked back. In some ways, that's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking towards the future.
Yeah, but what an excuse for a party.
I know, you're right.
Where would you have it?
You're right.
Most people, if they retire, like they work in the same office and they've been there for a while. But would you hold it at Burnley, Stoke, Portsmouth twice?
Somewhere in the middle, maybe.
Southampton, Spurs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Norwich.
It's not something that happens if you move around as much as I have, so...
Yeah, but you're Peter Crouch. You're this weird anomaly, I think, in the game.
Who brings a lighter flavour.
It brings a lighter flavour. It's something to think about. So there is some good news there that you didn't have a retirement party per se, that we just weren't invited.
Oh, no, yeah. I didn't have one. I mean, literally, I had a few beers that night. I just didn't really think of having a party. But yeah, it's a great excuse. We'll have one. I'll organise that.
I was slightly worried when I saw you start. I wondered if you'd gone the full Ruddock.
It is a really, really weird thing that I'm struggling to get my head around is fitness in general, really. And I'll be totally honest with you, I have not done much. Really, I've kicked a ball a couple of times, but not in a competitive environment. I've done 2 runs in the gym. Not a lot has been done.
Is there any sort of fold appearing where there hasn't been a fold before?
This was so weird, like... Since I retired, I've got a little bit lighter.
What?
Yeah.
So hang on, so you're doing less exercise and you've lost weight?
Yeah.
Is that the muscle fading away?
I don't know about that. It's a bit more like, because when I'm training every day, I eat a hell of a lot more just to fuel again. And obviously, like you say, the muscle and things like that. And, listen, it wasn't a hell of a lot of muscle there anyway. But basically, I'm at a crossroads now where I need to start doing some stuff. I've inquired, do you know what I mean? I don't know what to go for. I like golf, but that's not...
It's not going to build you, is it?
No, it's not really. I like tennis, so I think I'd probably get into that.
Are you starting from scratch, or can you sort of play reasonably at the moment?
No, I played, you see, I played as a kid. That was my thing, football and tennis. That was my thing the whole way through. And I sort of got to the stage where I had to sort of choose which one I was going to go for. I went for football, and thank God I did, but... It's something that always wrangles with me. I wonder how good I could have been.
Your serve must be extraordinary.
My serve's decent, yeah. It's not bad. I used to serve and volley, man. That was my game. Even Ivanisevic was my...
But I was going to say, because you've got a similar style, surely. Yeah. Because you're both so tall.
Just crash the serve down.
Ivo Karlovic, I'll be thinking of as well.
No, but I mean, the angles you can get done right is a weapon.
Unplayable.
Yeah. On the circuit as a 14, 15-year-old, it was unplayable at times, I have to say. Even if I do say so myself.
Right, if you took Andy Murray on a game of tennis today, how are you getting on? Are you winning a game on your serve?
I don't think I'd win a game, no.
Not even on your own serve?
I reckon I'd be able to get a couple of points, but I'm not talking games.
Could you get a point on his serve?
I'd like to think so, yeah.
Think we can make this happen, Chris?
I'd love to see it. Because you can be an older tennis player, can't you?
Well, you're the seniors tour, but also look at the current generation of tennis superstars. They're all your age. Like Federer,
you're right.
Nadal, Djokovic. I mean, they're all getting older.
So you think I could come back and take on Federer?
No.
Well, I guess what we should do is make this happen. So if you are listening to this right now and want to hassle Andy Murray... Is he Sir? He's a Sir, right?
He's Sir, yeah.
Are you expecting one of those, by the way?
I mean, if he's got one.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Now you've retired, you suddenly come into contention, don't you?
So hang on, Andy Murray's been world number 1.
Yeah.
He's won 2 Wimbledons. He's won the Davis Cup pretty much single-handedly with his brother.
Yeah. I won the FA Cup in 2006.
That's true. With Stephen Gerrard. If you can take a game off Andy Murray, he has to give you his knighthood for a week. Yeah.
Well, we play in best of 3 sets, so 2 sets effectively.
Exactly, yeah. He has to give you
if I get a game, he has to give his knighthood.
Yeah. Okay, and then if he wins... Oh, no, it doesn't really work.
If he wins, you have to be a ball boy for him in his practice sessions.
Yeah, no, you're right. I reckon I should be a ball boy, like, just round his garden or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
no, you should be his slave for one day.
That Peter Crouch podcast from BBC 5 Live.
So there we go, boys. How does it feel to be back?
Great to be back.
I have missed you, boys. It's just good laugh, isn't it?
I like the fact that, I just kiss Av and go, I'm going to work, see you later. And then I come and sit in a pub with I've had 5 Guinness now, I think. And catch up with my pals.
Guys, this podcast is the biggest con on the BBC.
We're having it off here.
It's farcical that we're getting away with this. It is though, isn't it?
Do you ever leave home?
5 Live.
It's our baby, you know what I mean? It's like, this is the one that I always come back to.
Well, can I keep the tone really high? We've had, obviously, some messages from people. This one is from Christopher. Something I've always wondered about this. Christopher says, a colleague of mine says she keeps her toothbrush in the wardrobe because if the toothbrush is left in the bathroom, it will get covered in poo particles. Is this true? What would Crouchy do?
You see, I had a mate, if someone farted in the pub, he would always do that.
He'd put his hand over
He would cover his pint because he felt that poo particles would get in his pint. He thought that the smell would get in his pint. Because if you think about it, if you can smell it in your nose...
Well, yeah, what you're saying is it would infuse into the pint.
Into the pint.
Well, Tom, you're normally the source of knowledge in these things.
Do you know what? I would love to be able to answer, but I have no knowledge of science whatsoever. Sometimes you get
Well, it must be something going up your nose, right?
Exactly. So, you know, if you're in that situation at work where you're in the toilets and there's someone in the cubicle next to you having an absolute nightmare, you're very aware of their nightmare through your olfactory gland.
Oh, great. Well, he is a wordsmith.
He's back.
An olfactory gland.
That's classic Fordyce, that.
That is him all over that, isn't it?
So is your olfactory gland not being tickled by small poo particles?
Yeah.
We'll get back to the original question. What I would do is if you are worried about it, I think, you know, a wardrobe or a different place for your toothbrush is a good idea.
No, but that's mad. If you go back to someone's place, right, and they have their toothbrush in the wardrobe, that's a red flag for me. That suggests that there's something weird going on. But I guess if that does happen now, it's very likely that they listen to this podcast, and that's a good thing, surely, in a lover. Do you ever...
In a lover, did you say?
Yeah. Do you ever do that thing? This is going to take it to a new low.
Excellent.
But you know where, like, your own you can deal with, but others you can't. You're having a particularly bad evening of it.
Yeah.
And you've trapped Abby under the cover.
The old Dutch oven.
Dutch oven, yeah.
No, have I trapped her in there?
Yeah.
You're not really into that.
She'll be so glad that this is back, won't she?
Oh, my God. Well, this is about retirement.
It's good.
I turned up here today thinking this is about... It's all about retirement here. My transition from...
Did you think
it's all about Dutch ovens without poo particles? This is the thing, you know, when you turn up, you just never know.
Yeah.
You've got a few notes and stuff. You never know which way it's going to turn, do you? Dutch ovens at home.
You ready for the next one? This is a message from Sam. Says, would you be available to play five-a-side football on Sundays at 12? The pitch is by London Bridge Station. You can wear any colour apart from green, which works for you because you do a lot of green screen
stuff.
So
yeah. All works, yeah.
Doesn't wear green. Subs are £6, but if you score more than 3, you can pay £3. It's an Astro pitch. Shin pads not necessary, which seems an odd one, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't know what game they're playing then.
No, you wouldn't do it shin pads when you're like playing five-a-side.
Oh, big time.
Are you joking? Of course you do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Still football.
Why are you turning your nose up at that?
You sad man.
Why?
What?
Why would you wear shin pads when you're on a five-a-side? So you are literally 2 full kit wankers. So you said to me.
No, I'm telling you that we're playing football
you got like
to the highest
socks
level we
up
can.
to your knee. You got socks up to your knee with shin pads on, playing football on like in the evenings.
Yeah.
Wankers. You've gone so far down in my estimation.
How many numbers aside does there have to be until it's acceptable to wear shin pads? So five-a-side.
So less than 11-a-side match is acceptable for shin pads.
Did you wear shin pads in training?
Never, apart from Burnley, because Sean Dyche had a rule that in training at Burnley you have to wear shin pads, and I found it really, really bizarre. But obviously, I did do it.
But like five-a-side is our world. Like if you're down,
I don't do. That's
you
not,
can't
I don't do
wear
training.
five-a-side with.
But five-a-side is our Wembley. Like goals, whichever branch of goals we're going to, that's our Wembley.
Mate, if I came down, right, and I was playing a team that was all wearing shin pads, I'd go, we're going to do these 5 or 6. Easy. 12-0, I reckon.
Whilst we're at this, can I also bring this up?
Just think, you know the other end, right, when you're putting your pads on, just think at the other end they're going, we're going to do these 12.
Would you be willing to, say, turn up at my 7-a-side thing?
Yeah.
And play one night.
Yeah.
Because that could do me a massive solid. That.
When do you play?
Thursday nights.
I like Thursdays.
Yeah.
Thursday I can do.
Beer afterwards.
I'm in. Bang up for that. I'll come and play. What do you do? Is it five? Do you have like 5-a-side matches, or do you train?
It's a 7. No, there's no.
Oh, it's just a match. It's just matches.
But this is why I find what you say about shin pads a bit upsetting.
So you're playing matches. Yeah. You're not like, okay, right.
Oh, so right. Weird that you don't know what 7-a-side involves.
Well, I've been playing professional football for 20 years. I haven't been down the Hackney Marshes.
You've been down the goals and
You've not been to goals in Rice.
No, I mean, I grew up with that, but... You know, it's evolved and changed since I last played 5-a-side.
You don't understand.
I've never done 5-a-side in the evenings ever in my entire life.
I wonder how good you'd be at that.
Well, it's a different game, but no, 5-a-side.
I wonder how good he'd be. He played for England. I mean, he's going to be better than the rest of your team.
5-a-side was my game.
To see, well,
let's get down there and we'll have a look. I need to join the team. I literally haven't kicked a ball since Arsenal at Burnley.
So hang on.
In May.
That's so cool.
Chris, you got a message?
How about this one from Max? I met Crouchy in Gusto in Audley.
Gusto, yeah.
I used to frequent that place.
Nice spot.
Max says, I dropped a drink at the table just as the youngest Crouch threw up and the oldest threw their dinner on the floor.
Bringing them up lovely, aren't they?
I was helping Abby clean up as she mumbled, "Where the fuck is Peter?" I looked up to see him showing the manager how to do keepy-uppies with a dirty napkin. That's parenting with Peter Crouch.
What I like about that email is it's damning in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Like it's multifaceted damning.
Yeah. This has evolved. Parts of that could have happened
on different occasions.
I can imagine the scenario.
But like I'm not doing keepy-ups with a dirty napkin with the manager. Surely not. Matt Healy from the 1975s, right, he used to work in that restaurant. He was a waiter and he served me. No, he's like smashing it.
Taught me how to do keepy-uppies with a dirty napkin. Got another message here. Dear Peter, my friend's angry Alsatian once chased my friends upstairs while I got left behind downstairs. It bit me on the arse and I decided not to tell my mum because I was too scared. I'm 15, 6'2", so maybe it just doesn't like lanky people. Best regards, Murtaza.
Well, I feel his pain. But that's mad that he's not told his mum. Because he was so scared.
Well, yeah, who's he scared? Is he scared the Alsatian's going to come back for seconds?
I don't know.
He's like some sort of gangster Alsatian. He's going to come back and just... You breathe a word of this. He's German, isn't it? You'll breathe a word of this. I bite you on the other ass cheek.
Weird it's bitten him on the arse, though, because that's the kind of thing you see in cartoons, isn't it? Rather than...
You can imagine like him biting the arse and then like hanging on, can't you? And almost like he's running off and the Alsatian's shaking.
Yeah. I've never heard of that actually happening, which makes it almost sound like this was a lie just to get... the email read out, but I'm sure it wasn't. I'm not accusing you of...
I do think sometimes that the people do sort of bend the truth a bit on these emails so they get read out.
So are we saying that we need Murtaza to show us some sort of butt cheek scar or something like that to prove that it happened?
No, because this has happened. I think this has happened. You don't talk about being bitten by a dog if you haven't.
What are you suggesting, Tom? Are you suggesting that if people do things like this happen to them, we need a doctor's note or we need some sort of
basic doctor's note, photographic evidence?
Yeah, we're looking for an arse shot here from Murtaza.
With the Alsatian attached to it?
Yeah, well, ideally with the Alsatian hanging off his arse.
Get a snap of the Alsatian with like the Levi's 501 like back pocket in his mouth or something.
Yeah, I think what we're saying is if you do email us with some sort of story, we need evidence because then it comes back to the whole Iniesta thing that was from the first series.
I did eventually come up trumps with that.
So, boys, before we finish, we probably need to work out what we're going to talk about next week.
This is where traditionally you look down at a little piece of paper, and sort of hurriedly scramble something together. It's like, what we're doing next week?
I don't know what I'm doing tonight, let alone next week.
Then you always say it in a really surprised voice.
Yeah.
What should we do next?
All right, okay.
Next podcast, what's it going to be?
Well, next week, I think we should do captains.
That's a great idea.
And look, it's great to see you boys again. We'll be back for another episode, but Crouchy,
back stronger.
Come on.
That Peter Crouch podcast from BBC 5 Live.
So that was that retirement episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks to everyone who's passed the pod and continues to do so. For everyone who gets in touch with their genius and elaborate plans, we have news for you. Crouchy is looking to reward the most extravagant. but we're only going to count you if you do your passing of the pod before January the 31st. So you haven't got long. We need to put a deadline on these things. If you listen on BBC Sounds, massive high five, but also we have a new thing called the Crouchy Club opening up on Mondays. That will be with you very soon. Only on BBC Sounds though. Our next full episode will be about captains, so tell your friends, make sure they hit subscribe so that every episode of That Peter Crouch podcast will get delivered straight to their phone.
And if you do need another BBC podcast between now and then, we can all heartily recommend the Football Daily. It's got Mark Chapman, Kelly Cates, Steve Crossman. It's got actual football content in it, some current footballers, and unlike us, they do an episode every single day. Search for Football Daily on BBC Sounds.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.